Yo, what up, street talks, street gods, street vlogs, Prius, Bitcoin talks, Urkham House. All right, some thoughts. So some real quick thoughts on ethics. So one of the big issues with ethics is, everyone tries to come out with some sort of like ultimate codified law on ethics, which is immutable, irrefutable and perfect. Kant tried to do that. The categorical imperative is like make a universal law for all. But I'm like, this silly, because like if you're a Muslim woman in the Middle East versus your 10-year-old kid versus your 72-year-old Korean person in the countryside versus your like a ratchet 36-year-old Korean American Air Kim in LA, shirt off, it's gonna be different, right? So I think the hard thing is maybe the way that these philosophers lack, right, is they have a difficult time understanding. I don't know, maybe this is also like back in the day when their whole universe was just like, so for example, if you're Kant, right, or if you're a German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, whatevs, right, like your whole universe is just one locale, like you didn't have the internet and stuff like that, right? And so obviously the rules for a Jewish person versus a Christian person versus an Islamic person versus, right wing, left wing, fundamentalist, Lutheran, Baptist, Protestant, Christian is going to be different from the atheist, from the libertarian, or the typical Silicon Valley upload your consciousness to the cloud person, right? And so I think the difficult thing then is everyone's trying to superimpose and make their own set of morality, ethics, whatevs, a universal categorical law for all. Now, obviously, once again, this is not good because, in the reason why people have a hard time with morals and ethics, like you can't prove it. Like you can't be like, data shows that my morality and ethics, like these loser effective altruism peoples will say, oh, the data shows that because we did X, Y, and Z, violence is down, blah, blah, right? So everyone's trying to prove something based on their own code of morality and ethics. Now, I still think that the most robust or the least bad way to approach things is kind of like a tolerance, right? So if you're not doing some sort of physical harm, you're not doing some sort of like inciting hate or violence, right? Just leave other people alone, right? Like we see this on all sides of the political spectrum. Like honestly, all parties are implicated in bad ways, and that's true. But I like the idea of tolerance. It's like, you could think this, I could think that. I don't really like the way you think. You might not like the way we think. But yeah, let's just try to be good neighbors, to be courteous, polite to one another, and not make too much of a big fuss about it, right? So I think the big issue that a lot of people do is they get kind of up in arms that y'all not obeying me as I think you should be doing because I know better than you. So the whole I know better than you philosophy is bad. And I think the most respectful thing to think is, I believe I know what's best for myself. It's not going to be a universal categorical imperative for all. But yeah, you should respect my beliefs. You should respect my beliefs. I should respect your beliefs. And we should equally be tolerant and open-minded to one another. And I think the hard thing too is, especially for most people, right? Most people never enter a discussion thinking that they in fact might be the wrong one, right? Or they have something to learn from the other side, right? And the truth is, anybody who streams politics or reads it or whatever, right? Like, I think people are lacking a critical backbone, which means a better strategy is just have two intelligent people, have a discussion, walk in the wilderness, get some good weather, sunny Southern California, go on a walk or a hike in the mountains, or the local nature trail, and the goal is to just have a conversation or a discussion to talk things through. And it ain't really about like getting the other person to see your like, I don't even think it's about persuading the other person. Just like, just be like a, be like a good human and just have a nice conversation. I think the art of conversation is lost because most people who are hiding behind political rhetoric, anytime I hear people like saying things which sound like some sort of social media political memes or stuff, whether it be on the far right, the far left, even the moderates, like everybody who essentially parrots a phrase is kind of not a good one. And so as a consequence, like all parties are bad. I think the only people I trust are the ones who aren't on any sort of social media news consumption platform. So no Facebook, no Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, Google Chrome News, RSS feeder, news, newspaper, like any sort of external media is bad. And like I'm the only one I know who doesn't follow politics in the news, right? I mean, I only vote for Bitcoin, which is ethical, morally just, and virtuous because it's open source. It's accessible to anybody on the planet. I mean, the more I think about Bitcoin, the more I like it because there's almost kind of like a fairness element to it, right? Like you could be in Nigeria, you could be in Lagos, you could be in Saigon, Vietnam, you could even be in mainland China, and as long as you own a little bit of Bitcoin or Satoshis, use my brother, I'm your brother, whatevs, right? We all believe in the equanimity of the Bitcoins. And I don't know, the more I think about Bitcoin, the more I like it. Like digital bits, right? Or a little bit. You could own a little bit of Bitcoin. You don't have to own a full Bitcoin. You could own a few Satoshis here and there, right? And also coin, right? Gold coins, dongjan, right? Like even in Korea, right? Like the gesture for money is like this, right? Which is like a coin. It's not this, which is US dollar paper money. So I guess it's good to be multicultural, multi-generational, right? And even like sound money, apparently you would take old back in the day when you took gold coins, you dropped it on the floor, you would make a different sound than things which were debased with iron or other cheaper metals. So sound money doesn't just mean like literally like legitimate money, but the sound of money. If you take a gold coin, you take a 100% gold coin and drop it, what sound does it make? My uncle's a jeweler, he knows the difference. VVS 1 diamonds are the real deal. Everything else is cubic zirconians. Actually, a fun fact that people don't know about cubic. So I helped my uncle for like a month or 2 or 3 during one of the summer months, and helping his jewelry business, his gold business. And a very, very funny thing that I learned was cubic zirconians actually have superior clarity, perfection, and look way prettier than real diamonds. But the only way to see the difference, no human eye, even if you took an 80-year-old jeweler, you couldn't tell the difference. The only way is you need a machine to actually test it. So as a consequence, my uncle's getting into crypto, right? Sorry, not crypto, I want to say Bitcoin. Crypto is something else, right? So crypto is almost like saying technology. It's like, you work in tech, right? I'm like, that doesn't really mean anything, because like anybody who uses a computer or an iPhone at this point works in tech, right? So the analogy I made to my uncle, right, was like, Bitcoin is like real gold or VVS 1 diamonds, right? And crypto, Doge, Ethereum, everything else, right, is essentially like cubic zirconians. Like, look shiny and pretty on the outside, kind of easy to stun and confuse and wow people, but at the core essence, it ain't worth nothing. There's no value to it, right? I think there used to even be this practice where you would bite gold or you would bite gold coins, and because pure gold is actually quite malleable, so you took 100% gold coin, you bit into it, it would actually indent, right? And you could melt it and stuff like that. I guess that's also a good analogy for gold coins too, is that you could actually chop it up, you could melt it, you could remold it. Bitcoin's the same way. You could divide it into a millionth of a Satoshi or what it is, right? And you could just shower people with Satoshis, and I even have an item. Can I become like a Bitcoin jeweler? It's like, is that even a concept? Is that a thing? Not 100% sure. Bitcoin jeweler. Actually, when I was back in Providence, Rhode Island, I remember there's one security guard I saw at CVS. He actually had a bright orange Bitcoin earring. It was pretty cool. Yeah, get some Bitcoin swag. Get the Bitcoin Prius Lamborghini, right? So yeah, for us, our favorite color is orange because it's the color of Bitcoins. So critical things to think and consider, right? So morals, ethics, right? Like what's best for you is the best for other people. And I think that's why it's so annoying when other people try to like police you or thought police you or try to like, grammar Nazis or political Nazis or whatever, right? Don't forget, I mean, this is also where I'm grateful to have ChatGPT, the paid premium plus version, right? $20 a month. It's giving me like $20,000 worth a month of value every month. Just go for it. Don't be a dummy boy. And just ask, is like, what is the history of the German Nazi Party? What does Nazi mean? Right? It stands for like Nationalite Socialista Party, right? So like the Nazi Party, it was essentially known as the Nationalist Socialist Party, right? Which is like the party for the people, right? And as a consequence, what a lot of the people don't understand is socialism was essentially the root of Nazism, right? Even note that Hitler, Adolf Hitler, right? He would walk around in like a uniform in which he looked like it's not like walking around dripping in Gucci or Louis V, right? So, for the people, by the people, whatever, right? The same thing with all these like kind of communist, socialist propaganda, blah, blah, right? And honestly, whenever people talk about communism, socialism, I'm like, even that's kind of like a little bit tired of a conversation, a little bit boring, right? I mean, yes, so I think the big thing is, just don't be a Nazi, whether a good Nazi, a bad Nazi, a Nazi, right? Even I had the funny thought. I'm like, kind of, first and foremost, I love Germans. I love Germany. Das hast du gut gemacht. Shout out to all my friends in Berlin and beyond. I find Germans to be some of the most intelligent, well-traveled. Actually, even like historically, all my photography workshops, whether in the States or in Europe, it's like majority German people. I love the Germans. Even my best friend Thomas Leutard, 85mm.ch, Swiss German, which I guess you're still technically Swiss, but you're still speaking the German language. Or my friends from Austria, right? They speak German. Schwarzenegger from Austria, not Australia, right? But his accent is essentially an Austrian German accent, right? My favorite philosopher, Nietzsche, right? German. Although he said that actually his roots might either be Prussian or Polish. I forget. What else? I love Bauhaus, right? Right? German stuff. A lot of German stuff is good, right? A lot of German engineering is good, right? I like how blunt they are, right? But nowadays you can't walk around with a German flag, or else people will think you're a Nazi, right? So I went in Berlin. I got this we stopped by this sweet German army surplus store, and I got this cool army combat shirt that had a German flag on it, and I'm like, I'm in America, so I'm like, I don't care, right? And then everyone's like, give me the stink, give me a dirty look, and they're like, oh, we're about to go to the Netherlands. about to go to Amsterdam, you better, you know, take off that German flag because Germany done messed up everything, right? And also, it's kind of one of those weird. I'm like a Boy Scouts, Eagle Scout. Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent. 2. Then you ask, if you know, you know. It's like, what was your Eagle Scout project, right? So, and then also, if you're a real Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, you shake with your left hand because your left hand is closer to your heart. Facts, right? So, yeah, like even in the American flag, it's kind of been like weaponized in a weird. I'm like, bro, like, it's so funny too. Whenever people be like waving an American flag, I just call them flag humpers. You know, people on the extreme right. And whenever I see people burning an American flag, to me that's like almost like urinating on a crucifix. That's just something that one does not do, irregardless of your political beliefs. You know, I know how to properly fold an American flag. I'm a Boy Scout, right? And so, yeah, I think there's some sort of sacred versus profane things. We should, you know, still hold some things sacred, right? But anyways, far left, far right is kind of stupid. So, yeah, like, as a liberal, right? It's like, I mean, I still identify as a liberal, left-leaning Democrat. It's like, why can't I show an American? Like, why has an American flag been, like, shown as a symbol of the right or the far right? I'm like, why can't a liberal be waving an American flag, or a Democrat, or somebody from the Bay Area, right? So once again, just don't fall into simple categories. And honestly, like my friend Ray says, like people don't like authenticity, or they get intimidated or scared by it, right? And then my friend Ray, who works as a comedy writer, he's like, Eric, I make fun of people for a living. I'm like, it's true, you do, right? And yeah, like people like to put people inside boxes, you know, I get it, right? Like, but like ultimately, why does it matter? It's like, why do you care if your dick is bigger than my dick versus your dick, or I'm taller, you're shorter, who's richer, who's poor? Like, what's your social class, your status? You know, what's your religion? Are you Jewish? Are you not? Like, why does it matter? Like, people always be complaining about, oh, this person, you know, from this rich family, you know, white people. I'm like, bro, don't use the word white. When you're saying white, you're meaning to say superior, whatever, right? Even my aunt, who's like 7-year-old Korean American lady, right? She's pretty much Korean, right? She says Caucasian. Say Caucasian. Like, people don't like to say it because it's a mouthful, but you know, I think it's more accurate. And it's tricky too because like you're from Turkey, right? Teşekkürler, right? You technically Caucasian, and a lot of Turkish people look like quote white people, but technically they quote ethnic, right? If you drink raki and you know how to eat ayran, right? It's different. And yeah, and you know, and also it's tricky too because you're Irish, right? Top of the day to you, lad, right? Or what else, right? You Eastern European, you're a crowd to use Polish, you're Russian. Are Russian people quote white? Were the Irish considered white back in the day? How about the Italians, right? No, they were considered kind of like the Mexican people back in the day, right? And yeah, like, so essentially there's no such thing as white. Like, even most people who consider white, like, they're either German or Irish. Look at the last names, if it's Mick something, or if it's, you know, even Jewish people, right? I often ask people, it's like, are Jewish people quote white? You know, responses are very interesting. My personal take is no, because, you know, if you tell people you're Jewish, like straight up, I'm Jewish, Jon Stewart, you know, whoever is used. If you ever had to change your last name or your first name in this country to blend in, use not, you know, quote white. Like even Kirk Douglas, you know, one of the greatest actors of all time, he's like from like Eastern Europe, Russia, something, right? And his real name was Daniel Chovinsky, or one of the Inskys. That's usually also like, apparently even Lenny Kravitz is Jewish. I don't know, right? Which essentially means that yeah, like Kirk Douglas, to sound more marketable in America, had changed his first and last name. Even Bob Dylan, his real name is Andrew Zinnemann. Zinnemann, I guess, is like a popular Jewish. I don't even know these things, right? Apparently, Scarlett Johansson's also Jewish. I think also Mark Zuckerberg is like, but then again, it doesn't really matter, right? Because like, if you're in America for several generations, like you're American, right? Like you're born in LA, you're from the Bay Area, you know, keep the sneak, E40, tell me when to go, right? Stupid, dumb, and hyphy, yellow bus retarded, yeah, 510 area code. Yeah, then it's all good, right? So, yeah, I think ultimately what I'm gonna say is, you know, we always like to put ourselves onto different spectrums, political spectrums, but rather than seeing differences, let's see commonalities.